PSA for changes on real estate practice is what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. Before we get into all that, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all those fun things that help grow the channel, get this important information out there. But there's been a recent change that just went into effect yesterday officially for our industry and our profession that we got to get out there to both agents and consumers alike so that they understand this new way we have to operate for everything. And so there's four significant changes that I can summarize for you to help make sense of this, because one of the biggest things that's been missing here or lacking is a sense of direction and leadership around this, because it is so nuanced and sophisticated, and it varies so much on a state by state, region by region, MLS by MLS level, even though this was a national class action lawsuit and a Department of Justice ruling that applies to everyone in the US. But where it comes down to your state, regional, and local level is where there's been a lot of confusion and lack of leadership and direction. But this is what I've come to find now that it's actually out, and this is why I haven't said a lot of things on it, because there's been such an undefined, unclear status that I haven't really brought anything to you yet, because it hasn't really been here, but it is here now. And one of the biggest ones, number one, is no more touring for free. Even though nothing was ever free to begin with. That's just a sales and marketing gimmick. Nothing's ever free, even if it costs you your time, your energy, your commitment. And that's what's going forward now, is that you have to have a signed agreement required ahead of time on all property viewings. Before, it was kind of lenient, it was kind of lackadaisical. Agents got used to that, consumers got used to that. That's a hard line drawn in the sand where it says, like, if you're going to show this house, I have to have a signed agreement from you that says you're going to use our services, you're going to work with us, and we have a professional working relationship, which is only right and fair and makes sense. But I get it, as a consumer, you're probably going to hate that inconvenience or that commitment that you have to make to a realtor. And in some ways, I'm not entirely mad about it, because if you want that much commitment to us, from us to you, we would expect that same commitment from you to us. Likewise, so it can prevent a lot more of the jacking realtors around, messing people around, trying to get something for nothing and free, and nothing's for free. And if you want to engage in professional services, you have to have a professional written service arrangement set up. So that's the biggest change I see for agents and also for consumers that are going to need to adapt to. Number two is that commissions are negotiable at time of agency agreement and offer consideration. So when you sit down and sign with a listing agent or a buyer's agent, you can negotiate your commissions, which has always been the case, to be honest with you, and having a more clear defined service arrangement on those commissions and how that works is negotiable, not set by law. There is no price fixing like some people think there is. But then when it comes time to offer considerations, that's when your commission can be negotiated as a buyer's agent, as a listing agent, where previously it was not, and now it is. And so for those pros who know how to negotiate and know how to handle those type of conversations, they're gonna be cool. It's gonna be no big deal. Number three, commissions are not displayed on the MLS backend, so we won't know ahead of time what the listing agent and seller are offering until we can discuss and negotiate. Terms of compensation and offers of compensation can still be made. It just can't be displayed on the back end of the MLS, where they started to consider that collusion, a trust policy. And so now, in an effort of more ethical consideration and practice, they don't want us to put all that on the backside. We have to just discuss directly in every single offer listing situation. We're going to have to be discussing what the terms of compensation are. So in some ways it's less organized, but in their eyes it's less collusion. But in my eyes and a lot of people's eyes, it's less transparent, because we don't know ahead of time. It's kind of a guessing game. And in some ways this will be beneficial, because now every agent, every buyer should go look at the house regardless of agent compensation. But it does create more legwork on the agent side, on the consumer side, is to have these conversations that in large were being avoided ahead of time, because it's a scary subject, talking about money, talking about compensation. And there's kind of this given that it's just like, oh yeah, it's just always 3% or always 6%, which no, it hasn't been. But there's been a lack of those direct conversations around those situations that now have to go on. Four, this was a national change instigated by a class action lawsuit and the Department of Justice, so on a national level, but obviously that's going to affect you on a state and regional level. So your state level and regional MLS should be looked to for local specific guidance on what this means for you directly. And this is why I think there's been so much confusion